Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. So without further ado, I will introduce to you now my mystery partner, led to the ring by his manager, Brother Love, weighing in at 320 pounds from Death Valley. I give you the Undertaker.
The Undertaker, the mystery partner, is now revealed.
I never heard of
Oh, take a look.
Holy cow! Look at the size of that ham hock! Check out them drumsticks, baby!
320 pounds, looks to be 6'9", 6'10", somewhere in that neighborhood, Rod.
6'10"? I don't know, it's hard to tell from here. Holy cow!
And look at the look on the face.
Do you think it's his coffee? Doesn't look like he's having a good time. You think he'd steal the gold out of your teeth?
All right, creatures of the night, welcome to a special bonus edition of Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio, and I want to thank you for joining us for this very special edition of Dead Man Talking. And I am joined, as I have been for all of our 170 plus episodes, by my Survivor Series tag team partner himself, the only man I want to driving this hearse down this highway all the way to the last ride with, Mr. Travis White. Travis, here we are, 30 years to the day after the debut of the man that we have dedicated this podcast to, dedicated a good chunk of our lives to, The Undertaker, and we're going to do something very special here and look back at his debut match, revisit it for the first time in 3 years, and do a running commentary on it, man. I'm very excited for this very special edition.
Yeah, me too, man. It's something that, when we initially started this endeavor, we weren't sure how many watch-alongs we were going to do and stuff because we didn't really know the format of any of this, honestly. I just listened to episode 1, so just to refresh my memory about this match. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Once we started doing watch-alongs, I love the way this lined up and the way it's going to be fun to revisit this. Like I said, 30 years to the day, man, to the dizzy. I love it.
And it's
Great
perfect that the WWE is honoring The Undertaker in such an incredible way.
Yes.
They have pulled out all the stops on the WWE Network with all of these specials that we're going to talk about on another episode here coming up soon. All this merchandise they've released, and they're even dedicating the entire Survivor Series pay-per-view to The Undertaker. All the advertising is based on him. He's going to make an appearance. We don't know exactly what he's going to do yet. I'm sure that'll be something we'll talk about on next week's episode of the show. But for now, Survivor Series, it used to be the Thanksgiving tradition. It was back in 1990. Just think of us here as the extra, the leftovers on your Thanksgiving plate. Just a little bonus meal. It's maybe the meal you go back to in the evening time. You had the afternoon meal, you got full, you took a nap, you're coming back for leftovers here. That's what this episode's going to be, a little bonus treat for you guys out there.
Exactly. It'd be like a I don't know, a little piece of ham hock before or after you get to your meal. So
look at the size of that ham hock.
Exactly. We won't be hearing that tonight, but we will actually see those words pop up on our. But yeah, use guys listening at home could watch along with us and hear Brody Piper say that. So. Yeah.
It will be our wonderful dulcet tones here as you and I talk about this. And man, let's just take a second before we dive into the match and just talk about how we have gotten here. We started this podcast in August of 2017. And Travis, you said you listened to our first episode earlier today to get ready for this. Most of you listening have probably listened to it. A lot of you have been along for the ride, or you've gone back and listened to stuff. And obviously we were still working out the kinks back then. It took us, I'd say it took us like, a good 20 or 30 episodes to really figure out our format, get the sound quality right. So, that's always been, kind of just one of those things. You can't really do anything about it. I don't want to go re-record episodes or anything like that. But, I thought it would be fun to do something else to celebrate, to look back at this match in a different way. And we're not going to do that with all of these early episodes.
No.
But this one is special and unique, and it makes sense to do that, especially since we're coming to the end of our podcast. We're near the end of our journey. We're not exactly there yet, but it's just perfect timing to look back and see how far The Undertaker has really come, as we're currently covering him in the year 2015. So it's close enough to present day.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 20. We just did his 25 years, on the regular Talking Taker timeline. But yeah, it's funny. Even as I listened back to episode 1 of our show, is we didn't even break down the match. Like, we talked about the high spots of him and his intro and all that stuff, and talked about him, but we kind of tweaked that as we went on and morphed our show and give more build up and more everything. Of course, there was no build up for this, but I'm just saying we've our show's evolved, and so it is going to be nice to go back and really dig into the actual play by play of this match, because there's a lot more stuff going on, even after he's eliminated or whatnot too. So just be fun to go back and revisit, because there's so much more ham left on the hock that we left on that episode.
Certainly a legendary match for sure. You and I, let's go back to 1990. You and I were still a good ways away from meeting each other. We were both 4 years old at this point in time.
4.5.
So that's our perspective. Neither one of us would have been watching this live. I know a lot of you listeners might have watched it as it happened back in the day, which is really cool. But I know for me, this was, I think I said this on our original episode, this might be the pay-per-view I've seen the most in my life. This was a favorite of mine to rent from the video store, a local video store called Video to Go in our hometown in Augusta, Georgia. They had a robust wrestling video selection, but for some reason, this was one of my favorites, man. I just loved the Survivor Series. I loved the Gobbledygooker when I was a kid. It had Hogan. It had Warrior. It had the Ultimate Survivor match at the end of the night where they all came back, and was the only time they ever did that. So I've seen this many, many times. Do you have any memories of seeing this for the very first time?
I think I mentioned on our episode 1 is that I don't believe I even saw this pay-per-view until about 96, 97, when I began to get back into wrestling. And then I'm sure it was at your recommendation of, hey, you got to check out Survivor Series, 90. And so I remember putting in the tape and watching. I'd heard about the Gobbledygooker, and I remember how, I've been on WrestleCrap.com and seen that, but I actually seeing it and seeing Taker. I always wanted to see Taker's introduction, because we talk about on episode 1 where I remember flipping channels and seeing him, but I cannot recall the first time I actually laid my eyes on him or what age I was or anything, but I do remember him. I remember the WrestleMania arcade game that, playing with him on that and stuff. Even if I wasn't a big wrestling fan, that was a fun game. But going back, so it was probably 96, 97 when I actually saw this match for the first time. So, and then I probably hadn't watched it again until we did Talking Taker episode 1, and then here we are again. So I know I have not watched it in the last 3 years. So
I have not either. Sure. So I'm excited for it. 8 legends here. This is, by my count, I went back and looked at this last year, I think, around Hall of Fame time. This would be the only match in Survivor Series history that's got 7 Hall of Famers out of 8 in it. The only one who's not in the Hall of Fame is The Undertaker, who we know will go into the Hall of Fame sooner rather than later. So it will, one day, this will be the only match in Survivor Series history where every person on all the teams is a Hall of Famer. And if you look back through Survivor Series, it's probably going to be the only one. in history. Like
Yeah.
there's all sorts of matches where there's a stinker on there,
Right.
or like Chris Benoit is in them, or Owen Hart, or something
yeah.
like that, who's not going into Hall of Fame. Except there's some in recent years with these big Raw versus SmackDown matches that might one day go in there, depending on how some of these guys' careers go. But as far as looking back through the archives,
Right.
think of all the Survivor Series matches,
Yeah.
and this is the only one you can say that about.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a star-studded match here, if we're going to get into. So.
Well, let's take our time traveling hearse back to November 22nd, 1990, from the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. If you want to join us on the WWE Network, you're going to go to 25 minutes and 26 seconds on the Survivor Series 1990 pay-per-view. So there's actually 2 chapters on there. One says Dream Team versus $1 Million Team. That's the one we've selected here. So the chapter that has Undertaker's face on it, don't click on that one. Click on the one before it, because we're going to get everybody's entrance here before we get to Undertaker's entrance, the iconic one here. So that happens, again, if you select the Dream Team versus $1 Million Team chapter, or if you just fast forward to 25 minutes, 26 seconds, you should be aligned with us on here. And we're going to do what we just did with the Bottom Line guys last week. We're going to do that watch along, but just for this match, just a brief bonus show here for you as you're getting ready for the Undertaker 30 celebration at Survivor Series tonight. So get that all queued up, pause us if you need to, and Travis, why don't you give us that countdown?
All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1, play, and we'll push it on play. So just like Steven Tyler says. All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1, play.
Now, what do you think Steven Tyler was doing on November 22nd, 1990?
Who? Oh, what? Probably loving an elevator.
Yeah, that seems right here.
So speaking of love, look at that man.
American
Team captain.
Dream. He's my captain. Forever captain.
Co-captain, my captain. Yeah. Oh, and Coco.
Coco Beware. Hall of Famer right there.
Doesn't
have Frankie. Yeah.
Frankie.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Dude, look at these introductions. They're just rolling out. Look at that yarmulke that he's got on.
I was going to call it a skull cap.
Yeah. Look at
well,
you
see the beard. You know, it all makes sense.
Yeah. Look at that leather yarmulke.
Look at that
Dusty's
man.
Forehead. It looks like train
scar
track.
tissue that I wish you saw.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is that song about Dusty Rhodes?
It is.
No, wow. I did not know that.
Look, these guys are all rocking the pink.
Yeah, color coordinated. Pink and black and red. I like it. So obviously the storyline going into this match is Dusty is his team captain. Ted DiBiase is the team captain on the $1 Million Team. They've been feuding. That's how they used to do Survivor Series back in the day. Everybody would kind of have these storylines against each other, and you rarely got to see all these stars up against each other as Rhythm and Blues comes out. But Ted DiBiase has got a mystery partner on his team. And it's one of the mysteries going into Survivor Series. The other one, of course, being the big giant egg that we're going to see hatched at some point later in the night.
Yeah,
a tale of 2 mysteries here.
Yeah, and you mentioned that on our episode 1 of Talking Taker, that this show is Vince's creative, both sides of the same coin. You know, you got the gobbledygooker and you got the Undertaker. And you mentioned how he was equally as excited probably about both of them, and probably thought both of them had the potential to be stars.
Yes.
As we speaking of stars, here he is, King Olive Garden himself, Virgil.
Virgil getting them breadsticks.
Exactly.
But man. This is maybe Vince's worst creative idea of all time and his greatest. You could make the argument for gobbledygooker being the worst of all time and Undertaker being the best.
Yeah, and you remember we've talked about, and Taker's gone on record saying that, you know, he was watching the television leading up to this and saying like, oh no, because they were advertising the egg. Like he's like, oh no, I'm going to be Eggman. Like
the Eggman.
I'm going to be Eggman.
Look at you.
Yeah, exactly. And there he is.
Without further ado,
the Beast.
He introduces us to his mystery partner, led to the ring by his manager, Brother Love. Weighing in at 320 pounds from Death Valley, Ted DiBiase gives us The Undertaker.
Oh, my.
Look at the
mystery partner.
presence.
Look at him. The way they shoot this camera angle from down low, it's just, so good, man. Giving him that bigger size. The Undertaker. Look at that big old tie he's got. Check out the drumsticks, baby, it says. 320 pounds.
And this is, if you're watching wrestling at this time, you might recognize him as Mean Mark from WCW, but as a kid, you're not. And that's who they're targeting right now. There's the smart audience, smart fan audience. It doesn't exist in the same way. Not even close. That it does today. So most people are thinking, this is a zombie. This is really a zombie. Look at the makeup on his eyes.
Exactly.
That stare across his face. See? The mustache on that face.
That guy is like bewildered by him though. But look, even here, he's got the stare. Now, again, he like basically speed walked to the ring according to relative to what he's going to eventually do, and took the hat off very quickly there. But like, he doesn't have all this. Is night number one, Granted, they've filmed a couple matches for Superstars where he was called Kane the Undertaker, but that hasn't shown yet. But look, Taker's starting off the match.
He is, man. He is going to be the first person that he's ever going to be in the ring with here on an official match is going to be the Hitman, Bret Hart, a man that he shared some excellent matches with. Some of our favorites that we've covered on the show.
That Royal Rumble 96 was one, right?
96 was one, and Survivor Series 97. Yeah, some awesome ones here. So,
SummerSlam 97, yeah.
Yeah. Not Survivor Series.
Look at that choke slam right there.
Early choke slam. And he's choking him out on the ground. Notice his black gloves. Really, I think one of the only times he ever wore that as opposed to the gray gloves is he's going to interact with the anvil now. Bret Hart didn't know what to do.
Yep, he didn't know what to do.
Neidhart doesn't do it. I mean, Neidhart's a guy who just knocks people over, and Undertaker just picked him up and slammed him like he was nothing. And now Coco's turn.
Coco's going to go.
Almost decapitated him.
He just about broke his jaw.
Woo!
Oh, man.
Coco. And this fast. Wow. Within 90 seconds, a tombstone.
Ooh! That hurts my neck.
On Coco's head. And one thing I will say, we talk about his presence. Oh, God, he just rolled him out of the ring.
And he just rolls him out of the ring, yeah.
He had his back to the camera, man. He missed the hard cam.
He did. I love it, man. They didn't worry about that back then. It seemed more legit.
You're right. They did.
But look, he just spiked him on his head, pinned him. He did the classic pin that will become the classic pin. Here's his first lockup right there with Bret.
Yeah. Hitman first one to get some moves in, some punches on Taker, but he's not selling it.
He's unfazed. He's going to tag out
to the hammer. Boxcar Greg Valentine.
He says, "Stop, hammer time." There he is.
Oh man, poor Greg with his dyed hair.
Dusty Rhodes is in the match now, baby. Look at that. He doesn't even. It's like he just went in blind and picked out some outfit. He doesn't even match. Yellow boots, red and white and black knees. Yeah, he doesn't even match at all.
He's on his way out, man. He's about to depart the company here. Head back home to WCW.
That's right.
He don't care.
Elbow.
But look at Undertaker's gear. I mean, we're not seeing him right now as Anvil gets in the ring with the hammer. Anvil and the hammer. That sounds funny. But you got 7 other guys in traditional wrestling tights. It's some neon 80s colors.
Sure.
But everyone else in here is in the traditional, pretty traditional wrestling tights and gear. Undertaker.
Singlet or underwear, yeah.
Undertaker looks completely different. Not just his hair and his makeup, but his gear, too. From a completely different world.
Yep. It's a gimmick, but it's, like you said, it's not one that Could have gone over like a turd in a punch bowl, as I said in the first episode that the Gobbledygooker did, but
And
luckily it got over. So
he's one of the first. I mean, that's going to define the '90s of WWE is guys in costumes like that with their side jobs and all this other stuff. And Undertaker's pretty much the first one.
Yeah, because even like Honky Tonk Man was the Honky Tonk Man, but he wasn't like, I don't know, it was a gimmick, but it wasn't like he was like the roadie was like that turned to 11, you know, like
or Duke the Dumpster Drosy or Isaac Yankem, you know, not quite like that.
The Goon.
So,
here we go. The Anvil. Did they tag out? I guess they did.
Yeah. And
look at that Rhino.
There goes Honky.
Oh man, be careful. There he goes, Honky.
Honky Tonk Man, excuse me. As DiBiase unloads on the Anvil.
Chopping wood.
There's a reason why there's 8 Hall of Famers in this match, dude. They're all so good at what they do.
And I love that, you know, you talk about on our show a lot that, you know, early on about DiBiase not knowing that he was like an AWA star and like had been to Memphis and stuff too. Like, this is the end of his career, you know, like he's been wrestling for 15 years before this, you know, but here we just know him as who we know him as, you know, it's just crazy.
Same with Dusty. Greg Valentine's been wrestling forever. You know, all these guys, they're not rookies, you know?
Mm-hmm. No.
So a lot of experience in the ring, which is awesome for Undertaker, that he's the rookie in here, you know, quite literally with all these legends, and he's getting that rub just from sitting there in the corner, watching them work.
Getting that Thanksgiving turkey rub here. Man, that's a wrestling move right there by the Anvil with a vertical suplex. Again, Taker, becomes a tag team specialist, but right here he's just standing there stoically. Not quite, you know, eventually he'll turn into the tag team specialist we know and love, and he'll be, you know, chirping up the crowd and getting them ready and excited and banging on that turnbuckle. But, you know, here is night one. This is ground zero.
And what a transformation. You know, we watched him in WCW. We did an episode talking about his WCW matches. So he was a very exciting guy to watch work back then. And he moved around and had facial expressions that did stuff. Yeah. And he has to turn all that off here. And I would love to ask him, if we ever get the chance to interview him, man, I'd love to talk to him about, you know, how much of it was given to you? How much of it did you go in there? You're making this up as you go along. You're having to figure out what am I supposed to do here? How do I do this differently?
Oh, Dusty.
Bionic elbow action.
And, you know, we just saw DiBiase quickly eliminate the Anvil. And I remember talking about this early on in these, in our episodes about the Survivor Series matches, how the eliminations would come out of nowhere. It wasn't like false finish, false finish, false finish. You know, here's the big pin. Like these guys are just making quick tags. They're getting them out with regular moves. Oh, high jump, boot to the back of the neck.
And, you know, we're not hearing the commentary here, but, you know, we've both seen it. Everybody's seen it. Roddy Piper and Gorilla Monsoon are putting over The Undertaker so hard on commentary. And that adds to it, man. The fact that, like, they're spooked out by it. They're spooked out by his eyes as he does that signature choke into the corner. And commentary can make or break stuff for the people sitting at home. You know, if they just were... Yeah. I mean, Roddy Piper, he does. He's Roddy Piper. He cracks some jokes, and he's a little bit silly. And
sure.
But if they were just completely laughing this guy out of the building or not taking him seriously... he wouldn't be the legend that he is today. They make or break him in that moment.
They can, yeah. Just has the ascension, what that's like. You know, as far as being night one on the main roster. So, but we talk about on our episode 1 how, you know, they are putting him over. At the same time, they're talking about, does he know the rules? You know, because we'll get to his elimination here shortly. Like that could have, if you weren't careful, that could have been looked at as if he's a buffoon, but they didn't play it that way. But like, even so, you know, like you said, it's just so important, the commentary here, because they are putting him over. They're not saying, oh, what a moron for, you know, not knowing the rules and whatnot, or getting eliminated the way he did. Look at this. Oh, off the top rope.
From the top rope, going for a pin here. And he eliminates
Got it.
a freaking former NWA champion, Dusty
Gets
Rhodes.
right up.
And Dusty Rhodes just laid down clean to him off a double axe handle, man. That is huge.
Yeah. That's big stuff, man.
Oh, did you see Shane O'Mac on the outside?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Picture putting the boots to Dusty, his friend.
A preview for an upcoming episode where we'll be talking about Undertaker, Shane McMahon. Maybe his longest rivalry here, man. This is where it all began.
Could have been.
Oh, and
golly.
Oh, Brucey, baby. Dusty and Bruce, we know, are good friends backstage, and now they're...
Yeah.
That was like Bruce's mentor.
And here we go. I mean, Taker is beating up Dusty Rhodes for attacking his manager. And there's Shane O'Mac. Isn't that Shane? Yeah, that's Shane.
Yeah, that's where the rivalry starts right here. Look, he is...
Exactly.
This reminds me of Mankind attacking The Undertaker 6 years later and how he manhandled him. It's very similar to what Undertaker's doing to Dusty here. But Undertaker, very important. He does not get pinned here in his debut match. He gets eliminated, but he looks like a savage as he goes out there just attacking somebody.
And if you are watching along with the closed caption, Roddy Piper just said he's big, but he's dumb. Again, that could have been taken the wrong way, and they could have buried him right there. It wasn't the thing, though. It was just like, he's big, he's scary, he's terrifying, but he has no, like, almost like he's untamable, almost. You know, he has no, you can't control him. He's just out of control. So again, that could have been taken the wrong way. But again, Taker would have overcome it anyway, but he didn't have to. It was just, he's so good. Oh, over the top rope.
What an atomic drop cell. That was Rick Rude level there from DiBiase. Oh, and a cross body from the Hitman. Hitman and DiBiase. Hitman small packaged Greg Valentine. So it's down to these two right here.
Yep. Which, again, they're going to put on. You might give them 20 minutes in the ring in a singles match.
Come on.
Kidding me? I feel like Ted DiBiase is underrated as a wrestler. I don't know. I just don't think he gets enough love as like his actual in-ring skills. He's phenomenal.
He is fantastic. He is phenomenal.
He's such a good heel.
Absolutely. He's somebody you could put into 2020. You know, his style, his skill, and he would get over.
Yeah.
He wouldn't miss a beat, I don't think.
No, yeah, absolutely. No. It's crazy. And Brett is going to hook on the Scorpion Deathlock sharpshooter.
You think? Nope.
Boom. Going with a kick to the midsection.
He's going to do a little wishbone here on Thanksgiving night.
What's the story, wishbone? There he goes. DiBiase, they're just hugging in the corner. But again, even this, it doesn't look choreographed. It looks like they're, we know it's a work at this point, but but when I was 4, I didn't. But it still looks real, And we talk on episode 1 about
that looked real.
Nobody takes a chest first turnbuckle better.
I don't understand how he does it.
No. Is this it? No. We talked about on episode 1 of Talking Taker about how one thing that fascinated us about wrestling, you're talking about Saturday morning cartoons, is where you found wrestling was Saturday morning. And we talked about, there were cartoons come to life, especially with this, the bright colors and the characters and stuff. But one thing that occurred to me as I was listening, and I like to make a lot of superhero analogies and stuff, but think about it too. Like we talked about how their superheroes come to life, especially guys like Taker and Sting and stuff like that. But think about what movies are a dime a dozen nowadays in 2020. Superhero movies and TV shows. I mean, the market is flooded. But in 1990, 91, 92, I mean, it wasn't until 2000 when like X-Men came out that that was the big Hollywood, thing with as far as I guess them coming in the mainstream, So it took another 10 years after this, but like in my opinion, that's part of the reason why it was still magical to us as kids, because this was where we saw our superheroes.
Yes,
we couldn't go to the cinemaplex, whatever. You couldn't go to the theater and see them. You had to watch them on TV, so we had to read about them in comic books. But this was them coming to life. So I think that's one thing that I'm glad I listened back to today, because I wanted to make that connection for us and for the fans.
No, this was He-Man, Ninja Turtles, Batman, all come to life here.
It really was.
How did DiBiase not get disqualified? Virgil was holding Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Hebner was looking right at him.
Yeah.
Terrible, Hebner.
You know, and terrible.
Love that elbow.
Moves of Doom. Working on it. Yeah. I love that backbreaker he does too. It was great.
Yes, so crisp.
So, great stuff. Oh, but anyway, yeah, it's just you know, this is where you got to see, and you mentioned too, episode 1 about Survivor Series being where you got to see the superheroes team up, and I mentioned how, you know, it was like the Avengers, which is true. This is where you get to see all your superheroes and your favorites team up, or supervillains, and right there we just got the heels won.
The supervillain won. DiBiase rolled through a crossbody on Bret Hart. Great finish, man. Protects Bret Hart. He's the underdog, and Ted DiBiase just caught him there. He didn't, didn't devastate him. He just caught him. A little bit smarter here tonight.
Like we said, yeah. I mean, the only person that hit a finisher to pin somebody was Taker, and we didn't know it was his finisher at that point. He's the only one to use a finishing move to finish a guy.
I think Coco Beware knew it was his finisher.
Lights out, Coco.
Oh my gosh!
But seriously, everyone else here was eliminated just kind of quickly, swiftly. You know, the other guy outsmarted him and whatnot, or Taker got the big double axe handle, but still, that wasn't like a big move. But like right there, he just rolled through. DiBiase rolled through the crossbody and got the pin. It's just, man, I love the genius booking of that.
Also I love the fans in the crowd. Yeah, I could do a whole episode just on the fans here tonight. But man, that's it. It went by so fast. And Undertaker, he's in it for all of maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But just from that entrance, just from the way that the other wrestlers interact with him, from his motions, his movements, it's pretty much all there, and it's all legendary. Pretty much already. He has such a presence. He is such a spectacle that okay, we're on to something here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you didn't know it was gonna last 30 years, but you've got something there.
And again, the only one not pinned or submitted. He eliminated himself. On accident. So, just really putting him over there, not taking a pinfall on your first night in. So, it's amazing what that can do. Not taking a pinfall on your first time in the company. So,
and not being the Eggman either. I think that helps that too, for sure.
Yeah.
So here we are 30 years later. The Undertaker is going to be celebrated for his 30th anniversary at Survivor Series. Again, I mean, has there ever been anybody who could even come close to that achievement? He's not necessarily active anymore. We say he's retired. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But really, I mean, does anyone even come close?
No, I mean, Flair wrestled a long, long time, but I don't think he was active.
And it was in different places.
I don't know. And it was in different places, a lot. And then again, he retired, quote unquote, and then came back. So, yeah, nobody has. I mean, nobody's been like Taker. He's it. He's the constant in one company the whole entire time with the same character.
We may get a Triple H 30. We got a Triple H 25 earlier this year, so maybe we'll get a Triple H 30 or a John Cena or a Randy Orton 30 one day. But Undertaker's the trendsetter. He is paving the way for that. Just a couple other notes about just the timeline of all this, or just how far we've come since all of this. By my math, this is only the 16th pay-per-view in WWE history. Just the 16th pay-per-view, and Undertaker debuts on that, and there have been, hundreds of pay-per-views since that time.
Sure.
So that's how early on he was in things. And this is, I looked through the card. Since this pay-per-view, there were 40 wrestlers on the card. I'm not including managers. There were 40 wrestlers. 14 of those are no longer with us. So only 26 men are even still alive that competed on this pay-per-view.
From this night?
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Ugh, that's sad.
And no one is active on the WWE roster anymore. Undertaker's the only one close to that. Shawn Michaels would be the most recent competitor, since he competed in Saudi Arabia a couple years ago. And yeah,
we'll
man,
be getting there, folks.
like I said, this is historic. It's the only Survivor Series match that is going to be complete. Both sides, both teams are going to be full of Hall of Famers. So I think that's pretty unique and special accomplishment here. So, yeah, I mean, any parting thoughts on this legendary match?
I'm glad we went back and watched it. That was a lot of fun to actually break down the whole match there. You know, like I said, I listened back to episode 1 and we just kind of hit his high spots and that was it, you know. And again, we didn't have our format down, so that was a lot of fun. That was a quick sprint there, but again, just fun to go back and see 30 years later how even from night 1 he was going to be something special, you know. But had all the potential to be the Eggman as well, like just go over bad. But he's rose above it, you know, and is the greatest character of all time, and that's not even disputable. I'm sorry, but that's not disputable. Like, you can't. Best wrestler, whatever, fine, you can dispute that, but greatest character of all time is him.
And you know, I love what you said about it being the Avengers out there. That's what was so cool about this. You could see why this captivated us as kids, just from the characters and, you know, the in-ring work. They're hitting double axe handles, they're hitting clotheslines, whatever, but it moves so fast. They're so crisp.
Yeah.
They're excellent storytellers. You could show that match to a kid nowadays, and I think they would be entertained by it still. You know, even if it doesn't have all the flips and dives and pyro and, you know, whatever. All that stuff is good and fine, and it has its place. But I think there's something beautiful, something artistic about what we just watched, and it's really neat to go back and revisit it.
It was really fun, man. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I would probably show it to my sons, and they might actually enjoy that. So even though it's, you know, they don't have to see the athletic stuff too. But yeah, that's fine. I'll probably do that one sometime. So, but also want to say too, just like as far as the greatest character, like he's I think he's 27 here. I think I mentioned on our first episode, but he will also grow to become the greatest character, and I'm talking about the man, like the character of the man. Like 30 years later, nobody says a bad thing about Taker. JR called him the conscience of a WWE on screen. Like, that was him backstage too. I mean, sure, did he have wild nights and stuff? I'm sure, but like as far as handling your business, as far as doing what the boss said was best for business, as cliche as that term is, I mean, he could have taken his ball and walked home at WrestleMania 30, but he didn't. Like, he could have made a poo-poo stink about not losing to Brock, but he did. He's a businessman, dude, and like he's got the greatest character backstage. Like, that's all we ever hear in interviews, man. So I think that's another reason that he's lasted 30 years and that he's so revered, and that they're doing Undertaker 30. They don't have to worry about skipping over parts of his, like Austin. They skip over 2001, 2, because he was a terror backstage, and like his domestic abuse stuff and like just things like that, you know. But like, you know, he didn't take his ball and run home like other guys did. And we've talked about that endlessly on this show. But anyway, I just want to mention that too, as far as his character on screen and off screen. So
yes, you just touched on something huge there, which is a great point to wrap this up on. It's not just his in-ring career, which is why we're celebrating 30 years. And it's not just his in-ring career, why he's been there for 30 years, but it's the man himself. You know, that's part of the reason why he had a WrestleMania streak for as long as he did. It just points to who he is in the company, because he didn't earn all these accolades in the ring. It's a work, guys. It's not real. You know, he earned all those accolades because of how trusted and how respected and how revered he was, and how they knew they could count on him throughout the years. And here he is, just a young buck, just learning the business, looking at guys like Dusty Rhodes and Bret Hart and Greg Valentine, and sure, even the Honky Tonk Man. I don't know. Probably didn't learn a lot of lessons from the Honky Tonk Man. He's just a Honky Tonk Man. But yeah, incredible to see how it started. And now we're going to be looking at how it's going, where it's at right now. Survivor Series 2020 is tonight. The Undertaker will be celebrated. We will talk about that on a future show. But coming up next on Talking Taker, coming up this Friday, we are going to review all of the Undertaker 30 specials on the WWE Network, and I'm sure we'll talk about Survivor Series 2020 on that show as well, and maybe we'll devote a full episode to it. We'll see what happens. We don't know yet as we're recording this, but we'll see. Want to encourage you guys to go back and check out Friday's episode if you haven't yet, as we were joined by Mike and JV from the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast with a look at another historic achievement in The Undertaker's career, a watch-along for the episode of Raw that features The Undertaker in the highest rated segment in cable wrestling history, which is incredible. 10 million plus people watched The Undertaker face Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWE Championship. And then in a couple weeks, we will get to WrestleMania 32 as we continue this journey through every single Undertaker match and The Undertaker, Shane McMahon, in Hell in a Cell. That will be the next in our chronological journey. But yeah, until then, happy Thanksgiving to all you folks out there listening. Thank you for supporting the show. This was a little thank you to you for all the support and all the downloads and listens you give us, buying our shirts at tpublic.com, retweeting and sharing. It is such a gift to have that and to make all these friendships that we've made along this journey. And it's been a gift and a pleasure to be along this ride with you, my friend, Mr. Travis. We have had a great time. I have loved getting to spend 1 or 2 nights a week with you, chatting and connecting, and that's been the best part of this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, this is our Thanksgiving gift to you guys, and just again a way to say thank you for the last 3+ years. And we're winding down, and so this will be our last Thanksgiving that we get to do this. So thank you to all our fans, and thank you to Mark Short for being the first purchaser of our Good For You shirt. So we'd like to say GFY to you, my friend. So thank you so much for that. Good for you. And thank you for all you guys out there, and thank you to you for coming up with this idea and have me along for the ride, man. We're gonna go keep rolling to the last ride. So if you guys were there in Connecticut this night, let us know what you thought. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving and take her easy.
He is absolutely awesome as the mystery partner of the $1 Million Team in the Survivor Series. Another shocker that Kane, arriving at the World Wrestling Federation, is going to be managed by none other than Brother Love. Let's get their comments. Surprise! Surprise! Take a look, brothers and sisters of the WWF. Take a good look. 7 feet straight up, and Kane, the Undertaker.
Here to do what I do best, and that's to bury any man that gets in my way.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, this man Kane absolutely destroying people here in the World Wrestling Federation, and it makes sense that Brother Love would be the man behind Kane. It should make for a very interesting relationship here in the World Wrestling Federation. With Update, I'm Gene Okerlund.